Okay. Hi guys, I'm just trying to see if I can get my other system up. Well, we'll have to wing it tonight. I'll have to keep looking at my, where it's videotaping because it's not coming up. Okay. All right, well, I'm seeing a little bit of it, so let's get started anyways. Thank you so much for your patience in waiting for me. I see some of you getting on. I can see that Sharon is here, and Nancy, and Anita, Diane, Joanne. So we're going to get started. So we only have a few more days left, and this is the host code for the month of June. We do have some products that are last chance products that are on special. Some of them are retiring from the June, January to June catalog, and they're discounted. Of course, it says supplies last. We also have another promotion of the kits that you can buy. If you buy one at whole price, you can buy a second one at half price. I've had several people stop by over the last couple of days to play with the kits, to get a feel for the kits. The quality is amazing. I mean, I think the cost is very economical. If you're a new stamper, it's a great way to start out. If you're a seasoned stamper, but maybe like my sister, for example, she lives in New Jersey half of the year and Maine in the half of the year, it allows you to bring a few supplies and still be able to have fun creating. So that's this. And then we have a, oops, this isn't the right one, I don't think. Nope, okay. Paper Pumpkin for next month. It's going to be kind of a general all-occasion type. It's 9 cards. I'll post some more on my business pages. So most of you know, my name is Corinne Sandin. I've been teaching Stampin' and scrapbooking for quite a few years. It'll be 22 years, I believe, in July. So that's about it. I guess we'll get started. So I told you that I would be creating a couple of fun cards using embossing folders. A couple of new techniques that I think most of you may not know. Some of you may. So my first card is it's called the inlaid technique is what it's called. So what you basically do is you're going to take some kind of a die cut, like you can see these beautiful ones from the order we used them this afternoon, so I misplaced them. Oh, right here. Beautiful dies. It works better if you have a detailed die versus a solid die. The name of this one is called the Artistic Dies. Hi, Cindy and Tammy. I see you've joined us. I have a hard time seeing on 2 devices, so I'm kind of looking up at my phone at the same time. My second device, for some reason, doesn't feel like cooperating tonight. So we all know how it's a love-hate relationship with technology. So this is the inlaid technique. Hopefully you can see it. I'm going to bring it up close. You can see how this die is enmeshed into the background here. So this is the brand new Sweet Sorbet. And of course, black is always stunning. And I wanted to show you another way to use your ribbons. So if you're posting comments, I'll have to go back and read them after because, like I said, My second device is not cooperating at all. I'm not sure why. Let me try to catch something here. So let's get started. So I have these two dies. I'm going to select one of them, and I wanted to select another in color. So this is the Starry Sky, the turquoise, Sweet Sorbet, and then this is the Oasis. So let's use that one. And this time I'm going to use this pretty leaf so you can see how that looks. They're pretty easy cards to make. My card base is black. I also wanted to show, I had a couple of new people here yesterday. If you do not have a score blade on your particular cutter, I'm hoping you can see this. Just take your card, make sure you're up against two nice square sides like I am here. Bring this up, make sure it's kissing on this side and kissing on this side, and then make a T. Come down the middle, fold one way and fold the other. And it usually lines it up perfect. So now I'll take my bone folder and burnish it. Alright, so we're going to use this beautiful Orchid Oasis, is it? I still haven't gotten used to the new names. How about you guys? By the time I get used to it, they'll be gone. We'll have some other new ones. So I'm going to just put a little bit of glue because this is going to get kind of burnished into my cardstock anyways. So I'm just going to put a couple of drops in the thick spots on the tips. Did anybody do any crafting today? I did. My sister came to visit and had lunch, so we did some cards for my Senior Plus, Meals on Wheels. If you like to make cards, I'll be more than happy to take some. We're always looking for birthdays, both men and female. You know, kind of like thinking of you. You do not have to sign the cards because we're going to put them from Friends of Senior Plus, which is what we all are. Some of you may know I taught classes there for a number of years. So I just want that to sit there. So now I'm going to take this beautiful, beautiful time-worn type embossing folder. And you know the line here on your folder is to help keep your card straight. So if this happened to have a particular design, it would go in straight. So you're going to hear my embossing machine. I do have an electric one because I have so many hand and shoulder issues. So I'm going to go emboss that. I'll be right back. Oops. I'm going to check it and see if it is embossed good. And it is. If it wasn't, I would put it back in, but always remember to put the folded side in the direction that you're embossing in. Because what happens is if you put it this way, the pressure builds up and this will split. Trust me, I've had it happen to me more than once. So you can see how it makes it. Let me take this little piece of scrap off. It embeds it right into the cardstock. So this is some retired ribbon, but I just have an abundance of it, as I'm sure many of you have a surplus of stuff. So I'm going to use it. I'm going to take a couple of pieces of heavy-duty tape. And I wanted to show you, you don't always have to put it all the way around. You can put it at an angle. It makes it really pretty. And the nice thing is about at an angle, you don't have to worry about it being straight. Yes, I do too, Connie. I just like the ribbon, period. Doesn't have to just be for Halloween. Alright, so let's trim it up with my favorite scissors. Stampin' Up! Snips. Again, cut it at an angle. And then I'm putting it on a basic black cardstock. My kids picked me up some stamps today because the local post office that we have here by the house has been closed more than it's open, and the 2-ounce stamps that I normally buy went up 2 cents. I always put a 2-ounce stamp on my cards because of the dimensionals or whatever. So simple card, but beautiful. And I'm getting so more and more that I like to have a stash in my card box of cards that don't have a greeting. That way, if I have something unusual that comes up, I can just grab it and insert a greeting or write inside what the occasion is. So yeah, both of these are beautiful, simple. You could make a whole set of these, put them in a beautiful box. We do sell card boxes at Stampin' Up! They hold about 4 cards in 4 envelopes. Makes a great gift. Okay, so I'll leave these here while I gather up my other supplies. So this card here is a little messy, and I know some people struggle with that. But it's so worth the mess. So I'm going to set these out of the side, off to the side. So for this, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need lots of napkins. Here's the card. The technique is called newspaper, I think it was newspaper print or something like that, or vintage. There's a couple of different names for it. You need a piece of watercolor paper, which, let me get the package. Stampin' Up! Does sell it. It's after the Designer Series paper. I can't remember exactly what page it's on, but we have watercolor paper, and you only get a little bit, so it's not like buying a whole book that you're not going to use. I use a paper plate just to protect my work surface. Bunch of napkins. You're going to need a heat gun. You're going to need a spritzer. You're going to need water pens. And of course some ink. Refills. So let me get set up here. So this time on this, where's my sample? So on this sample, I used the New Tide and Blushing Bride in the gray granite. This one, I'm going to use the same embossing folder, which is a 3D folder. I highly recommend that because you can get a better impression. But I want to use the new Titanium Tide and the Parakeet Party. So I'm going to set my card bases off to the side because I don't want them to get all wet. So the first thing I want to do is saturate this watercolor paper. I have some Stampin', oh right here, Stampin' Mist. They come in a package of 2. This is just plain old tap water. You want this to be pretty wet. Then I'm going to take a block, any size block, there's no right or wrong. I'm putting a couple of drops of my ink refill. So another way to use your ink refills, you can use them on your stamp pad, you can watercolor with them, you can do this technique, you can fill your regular markers with them, not the blends. And just be careful if you want to refill your markers. It only takes a couple of drops. God bless Ronnie. She did it this week. I'm going to make sure this is pretty wet. And she overfilled them, and that can be quite messy. These water pencils or pens or whatever you want to call them come in a package of 3. You get 2 different fine tips, and then you get this one that's like a wide. Alright, so let's get started. Make sure this is nice and wet. I'm going to put a little bit of water. There's a push here. Pick this up and just drop it wherever I want it. Kind of like a tie-dye, I think. Alright. You could use the same one, clean your brush out, but since we're doing the video, I decided to use 2 different brushes. So I can clean them after. Just run them under tap water. So I'm going to color in the rest of the space. As you can see, I'm not being careful by any means. I'm letting the water pull the ink. That's why it's really important that it's very wet. And this wonderful watercolor paper can hold up to that. Now you could make a pattern if you wanted to. Alright. So now I'm going to blot as much of this as I can with my napkin or paper towel. Then I just buy these cheap little notepads at the Dollar Tree. You get 3 of them. We want to dry this, so you're going to hear a noise. If it bothers you, just turn the volume off. Let me move this out of the way before I make a big mess. And I'm using that beautiful, oh, that's the wrong folder. Where'd the other one go? Hold on a second, it's here. Probably pushed it all over here. Oh, this drives me crazy when I do this. I have it all together before I come on, and then I move something. And that's what happens. Okay, here we go. So I'm using the Pretty C Bedded 3D embossing folder. I would suggest that you use a 3D embossing folder. So again, I'm going to line this up. I'm going to put this through my die cutting machine twice. So here's the first time. I'm taking it out, turning it around so I can put it through the second time. Yes, perfect. So now you can see how all those colors. Now, if I wanted to spray this one more time before I put it through, I could certainly do that. Just have fun with playing with colors is what I like to tell people. So now, to step it up and give it that newspaper print look, or a colored page in a magazine, we're going to use gray granite. And we're just going to lightly brush it across the top, so it only gets the raised edges. I'm not pressing too hard on this. Be careful you don't touch the ink part, because you could transfer it where you don't want it. So that's it for that. Very easy to do. Let me bring that back into your view. Grab my heat gun again because I just got everything very wet. Now you could do the first step and let it dry overnight versus heating it up, but because of the sake of class, that's why I'm heating it up. But isn't it cool? It's just so neat. Okay. So I'm going to layer that onto the gray granite in this beautiful titanium tied paper. First, I want to get a mat for my greeting. So I'm just using the layer. So let me show you that trick one more time. So if you do not have a score blade, butt this right up in the corner where you got two sides. Round it over, hold it, and make a T. Then take your bone folder and burnish it. I don't want to use the pink. I've got some white right here. I think I'll put black. I'm going to put a couple of pieces of twine. We have tons of twine in our catalog. Baker's twine. So I do the cheating method on pretty much everything. So there's my masking tape. I'm going to wrap it around a couple of times. Put masking tape down again and give it a trim. Use my favorite Tombow. You want to put a lot of adhesive. Even though I dried this, it's still a little bit damped. I even sometimes will put a punch on top of it overnight just to make sure it adheres. I'm going to attach it to the mat. Now when you're putting on the first colors like we did, you want to be careful you don't overlap too much, because as you can see, here we got a little bit of green going on, but it's fine. But just something to be mindful of. I'm going to put some pop-ups underneath, or dimensionals as we call them in this Stampin' Up! World. Where my pickup tool is. Alright. I'm going to center this so I have a nice gray granite frame all the way around it. Stamp my greeting. I took that from Happiness Abounds. It's my new favorite stamp. And I'm using the gray granite ink. There we go. Close this. Put some more dimensionals. I think I put it down here this time. And then I want a couple of pieces of this twine. And then one final thing, I want to add a little bit of shimmer to it. Let me get all my stuff out of the way because I'm going to make a mess. I usually have an empty paper pumpkin box here, but I don't see one. So I would normally set this in a paper pumpkin box. Let me get one of our Wrinkle Stellas. I'm going to put a little bit on my block here by squeezing the edges. My arm is killing me today. I'm not sure why. Oh, what one do I have? Oh, I don't want this one. It's a white one. I want a clear one. Because I only have about 10 of them. There we go. Let me see if I can squeeze this one. And don't tell me that one's empty. Alright, let's bring a bunch over. Try this one. It looks like it's time to order some more, huh? Because I can't squeeze very good. My hand hurts so much. Oh, come on, people. I can hear it. Now, remember, on your Wrinkle Stellas, if they seem empty like these do, you can add a couple of drops of... Let's see if I got a new one. Hold on, people. Thank you for your patience. There. I'm going to check out a brand new one so we don't have to worry. Alright, so most of you may not know this, but when you get a Wink of Stella, there's that little black. You need to take that off. And then put this back on and screw it on tight. And shake. And then you need to bleed it, which is going to work out good because I need some on my black. So you can see I have quite a bit there. So I'm going to really make sure that this is nice and wet. And I'll show you why I want to usually put it in a box. So, this will dry very quick because it's alcohol based. One more time. So when I bring it up, you can see the shimmer. Just be careful you don't tip it too much because it is a dye base underneath. I like Anita's response. She has to YouTube how to get it going. I'm going to put that one there so I know where it is. Let me bring back in the other cards. Then I did one more that I was going to just talk about. So let me show you that one. This one here is I used the fern folder. And this is the deboss side. And then I just took some daubers and used different colors. So there's the projects tonight. I thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned a few tips and tricks along the way. I will be back next week. And then in July, I'm taking the month of July off. Just to be able to regroup and do some fun things with my sister while she's up here for the summer. Oh yeah, you like the fern one? Awesome. All right, everybody, you have a great evening, and thank you so much for joining me. Take care of yourselves. Stay well. Bye-bye now.